Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Ateneo de Manila. I hope you're having a wonderful time. My name is Joben Ilagan, and I'm here on behalf of the John Gokongwei School of Management with Dean Robbie Galang in front. And we also represent Ateneo Build, which is under the John Gokongwei School of Management. Now, you may wonder why is the School of Management sponsoring this when it's a technical themed conference? So that's actually the reason for my talk. So brief background, I wear two hats. I'm Director of Ateneo Business Insights Laboratory for Development, or BUILD for short. And I'm also the Program Director of this undergraduate program that tries to come up with technology startups. So it's BS Information Technology Entrepreneurship. Prior to that, it's actually my 5th year in Ateneo. Before that, I spent 17 years running a software company, Seer Technologies, which was an offshoot of my stay in Oracle Philippines. So we wanted to be an Oracle partner, and we wanted to take advantage of the high rates that Oracle charges. So we wanted to undercut them, much to the support of the local subsidiary. So that's how we made money at the start. Fast forward 17 years after, we eventually landed into open source and mobile applications development and cloud computing. We were only one of two back then AWS advanced partners. So we were very proud of that. Now, brief background, you'll note that I am not a computer science graduate, and that's very important to note. And I had a lot of insecurities involving the use of technology throughout my career. Can I have a show of hands? How many of you are from CS or IT? Half. Non-CS, non-IT? Okay, more of you. So good. If you want to reach me after this talk, I thought it best to put the QR code of my LinkedIn, but you can reach me through my email address. There. Now, a bit of journey. It wasn't linear, so I'll talk about the decision of Ateneo to get into Python, leading towards the creation of Ateneo Build, and last, the Technical Resource Lab, or the TRL. For those of you in design thinking, you might be familiar with the design squiggle on top. So our path wasn't necessarily linear. In fact, there were two major events over the past 5 years. The first is COVID-19, and the second is at the end of 2022, ChatGPT, which actually accelerated our growth. So I'll start with part one. So Python in management education, because I'd like to tell a story from my days running a software business. I did have management fresh grads who were kind of tech averse, but ultimately they got the hang of tech. One of them actually is now I don't think he wants to be named, but he's now heading data engineering of Maya. But he was actually a management grad. Now, those things are possible because Python is the great equalizer. And unlike Java, where you have to, it's very verbose syntax. And I don't think there are many Java fans here anyway. Am I correct? Okay, yeah. So we love static void. No, never mind. So Python is very simple, close to pseudocoding. So it's a great equalizer. And if that's the nature of Python, then definitely management grads should be able to take advantage of it. Now, in 2019, luckily, the John Gokongwei School of Management, or rather the Department of Quantitative Methods and Information Technology, decided to move away from Excel and VBA to Python, luckily. And the nice thing about it is they called for volunteers to teach. At that time, I was getting depressed with my former business. I decided to seek therapy in Ateneo and teach Python. And this was before the pandemic, by the way. And I knew back then that students are being ridiculed for not knowing GitHub and things like that. So I required it in class. And at the same time, just to ease management students in Python, I had them install Anaconda, which already included everything. Right? And I couldn't, back then, prescribe Docker because of the requirements. Although little did I know that Podman actually existed back then. Had I known, I would have done containerization as well. But these are the tools that we used in that class, which lasted only for 6 weeks. So it was very jam-packed, and we had to make do. And we added a bit of humor for those of you who know Rick Roll. So I was assuring them through this text that, no, it's okay, you can pass the long test. But for your exercise, get the first words. And what you should see below is, we're no strangers to love, blah, blah, blah. So it's a Rickroll. And then because of 6 weeks, we had very little time for theory. So we already jumped straight into applications. So this is a first taste of order processing through a shopping cart or point-of-sale system. So right here, we already taught things like dictionaries, loops. And here, we gave a taste of Spotify, which they would enjoy. Back then, Spotify released their data APIs. So we dumped data for them to analyze. And after 6 weeks, the final projects, to our surprise, were things that beyond what we taught in Python. They were able to do web scraping. They were able to do Telegram bots for these different use cases, including payroll, by the way. Management students, not CS. And I sought a quote from one of the graduates 5 years ago. I thought that he was no longer using Python. Lo and behold, he's still using it, in spite of him being the senior associate at Boston Consulting Group. He still uses it. So there are trouble tickets that he supplied NLP and K-means clustering, and he was able to categorize tickets, showed it to his boss, and I don't know if it was promoted after that, but it did wonders. Another student during that cohort is Valerie Liu. For her first job was actually senior software engineer already, and then she moved jobs, still senior. And then she attributes what she learned from Python. Now, extending that, so that is management engineering, we also have ITE, where we deal with startups. Ironically, ITE was more of the tech nosebleed type, but so we had to take a step back and assure them through scaffolding and template code. And things went out well after. And then, boom, COVID hit. And then we had to pause for 4 months. And we had to record a lot of videos. And we had to do a lot of notebooks beforehand. Now, because of the short intercession, 6 weeks, we had to embed a lot of non-Python concepts within the tests and within the assignments. So, para tipid, di ba? And so, what is HTTP? It's not really discussed in regular Python classes, but you need it for API, for you to be able to understand what an API is in the first place. You can't do Python as a glue without understanding what an API is. So we had to embed a lot of these concepts strategically. We also did social media listening. So for example, you want to analyze brand health and brand sentiment. So we had them scour through Twitter. I prepared data beforehand for them to analyze and do analytics. And then payroll processing in an advanced form. So we did that also. And we did pseudocoding also. I put my handwriting, pardon the chicken scratch. That's done on purpose, just to make them at ease with the technology. Because if everything looked like serif and sans serif, the intimidation factor is large. No? So we mapped the chicken scratch to actual code, which, come to think of it, doesn't really look different. And at the end of that cohort, we were able to come up with student groups that were able to web scrape procurement data from government. And actually, what you don't see here is the emergence of the name Pharmaly a year before it exploded. So the students already found out that Pharmaly existed before it came out of the news. And then a few other things. People are still using Excel, but the data extraction was on Python already. And these were the comments. I'll leave that there first. Now, anyway, testimonials. One of the program awardees also uses it extensively, even after college. And this one's from ITE also. She's now with PackWorks, the provider of point-of-sale systems for sari-sari stores. So she's now one of the business analysts, business systems engineer. Now, 2021, we realized that the management students are able to engage with real-world applications. So we became more ambitious, and we took advantage of the fact that industry partners were willing to engage remotely anyway. So why not experiment with a mix of student and faculty engaging in consultancies in class? So we got volunteers. No? Kumu was there, Digitas, part of the Publicis group, Mobile Optima, one of the startups. And we were able to come up with use cases on the right. No? So we have web scraping, K-means clustering, A/B testing, market basket analysis for one of the FMCGs. So they were very, very happy. In fact, one of them wanted to pay. And that's where we got excited. At the same time, we didn't have the mechanisms to charge people. But come to think of it, students are getting exploited through internships, and faculty low paid, and they don't have the experience. Why not bridge everyone together, industry giving the exposure to everyone, and for the students and faculty to learn at the same time? So how do you now reconcile that with the mission of the university to promote education? Now, fast forward, we needed a more sustainable structure for that, hence the creation of Build. Now, what Build does is we want to institutionalize the ability to engage industry, whether paid or not, and that way we empower students and faculty. For students, we do have student startups wanting to bootstrap, so that's their ability to raise funds on the side, because VCs definitely will not bother talking to them, so just bootstrap, right? So the focus areas will be data analytics, Gen AI, and data platform services. Now I'll skip, and what accelerated our move further is end 2022, the emergence of ChatGPT. There was GPT already back then, but ChatGPT made everything accelerate. So that's Build. So we try to engage in one of 5 services. So we do workshops, we do paid research, consultancies. We provide toolkits through our set of repositories called AOLI, Ateneo Integrated Open Library. But AI will now be revisited to be AI. So it's an AI open library for our students. And we have spin-outs where startups can reuse aspects of our intellectual property library for free, and they'll be able to launch startups. We put that all in the repository and share throughout the various services. So at the core is research. So we've had over 12 already. So this was early on. I'll highlight a few. So there's a university concierge. Many of you are already familiar with RAG anyway. So how it works is for the student handbook, we have 3 PDF volumes we dump into a database. And then students should be able to ask, how do I file for a leave of absence? Then it displays the rules. Now that's the intent. And because you have the intent already, you can actually ask in Tagalog also. So it automatically translates, even if the PDF is in English. Other use cases, did you know that because of the way LLMs have been trained, it has innate knowledge of how people behave. So we are able to create synthetic survey respondents where we prompt it to generate 30 personas for statistical significance. And then fast forward, you can actually have structured data like this. And once you have structured data like that, you can generate charts through Python. And it's not a replacement for people, by the way. It's just to prepare you for the actual survey. And other things, a lot of e-commerce transactions go through Viber, not through Lazada. So if you can capture the conversations and structure them like this and convert them to SQL statements, then all of a sudden you bypass a whole generation of digital transformation steps and just go straight to the way people actually do things. And what else? A few other things. Oh, this is for our IT students. They want to prepare for a final pitch. So we've asked ChatGPT to pretend to be one of 3 judges. So once they submit their business model, a harsh judge will grade them. Like that. And then another use case is we have food stalls on the other side of the campus. You'll see a lot of them still handwrite things, so we're able to capture. And then a glorified alternative to web scraping is just to get screenshots. So this is Ateneo Freedom Wall, where we get stuff and do things in OCR and just apply sentiment analysis. So you can pipeline things like that. And then Gemini, I think, is able to extract already food content. Not perfect, but good enough. And then financial modeling, again, for IT startups, it's just being able to answer how much are you asking for. Then given a business model, it's able to come up with a financial model like that. And then we do workshops. True to form, the workshop was organized by students, and they were able to earn from the workshop fees also. And moving forward, we'd like to come up with an experience center like that. And we do have products that do data cleansing. So here, it's entity resolution. So whereas before you'd treat this as different products, you can now merge everything into one. And then these are members of the board. Some of you will be, some of you may be familiar with some of them. I think Doc Ligot is a panel later. Okay, and these were early support. We did work for Sprout Labs, if you're familiar with them, and also a new startup called GIA. So we did the kickoff before, and we have a testimonial on the right, which actually, if you look at it seems that we're ready for prime time in terms of consulting services. So we're no different from the regular dev shops outside. And then further testimonials. This is a current student. He's management engineering. He's now actually have had experience in Python and Gen AI, more than a lot of people I know outside. And then another student group used a combination of Python and Claude to be able to come up with simulators for a retail outfit. Then fast forward, as we were trying to form Build, co-develop, one of the sponsors of OpenSPP and other digital public goods companies, came to the Philippines to look for an industry host. And when we were showcasing Build, they liked what they saw, and they appointed Ateneo as the host for the Technical Resource Lab. So what the TRL tries to do is one of 3 or 4 things. No? So it's consultancy and managed services down the road, but we'd like to get people familiar with the terms DPI, DPG, and hopefully have workshops sustain the business model of the TRL moving forward. Now, this was recently signed, actually just last year, and with the Queen of the Netherlands visiting Ateneo. So we're very lucky. And now, the Experience Center, extending the concept further, is we'd like in Ateneo to be able to offer to students and faculty the ability to apply for a national ID, apply for a license. And along the way, for those of you who visited our booth, thank you for liking TRL. This is part of the content that you'll see in our Facebook page. So it's educating the market on the values of digital public infrastructure and national ID. And with that, thank you for listening to my talk. I'm open to questions.
Hello, good afternoon. I think I've already introduced myself. I'm Kevin from Ateneo Dinaga, and
Yes.
I think I already mentioned that in our university, we're also trying to, in a way, develop similar where we will encourage students to build, basically, software apps as well, and then have them exposed in such business sites as well to be able to deliver some useful apps as well. So I'm just wondering if you're looking at your path, I think it's very similar. So I think I'm hoping we've learned a lot. So basically, thank you for the lecture as well. And I think we'll be able to apply it in our initiative. I'm also wondering if maybe if your center is also open for a benchmarking opportunity where we'll be able to maybe see, the students will be also exposed in your processes if that's possible. It's a possible benchmarking opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I'll answer the benchmarking part. Definitely, we're open. But and beyond that, we can actually collaborate also.
Thank you. I think that's...
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have another one? Hello? Yes. Okay.
Thank you. So very interesting, and I saw so many papers on AI. So that's very interesting. And as part, I saw you were mentioning a tool like I don't know if you're reading from the receipt. Are you reading from the receipt the information, right?
Yes.
Could this be used also to extract information from reports, student attendance sheets, for example?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because that's a problem I know DSWD was looking at, and that would be quite interesting.
Right. Back then, I don't know if this is planted. I know of the problem that you're talking about. Back then, I think the priority was to come up with something that's already been made. But around that time that we were discussing it, a few improvements in the large language models enabled not necessarily printed text, but handwritten text also, handwritten words. The handwriting thing doesn't follow the usual Tesseract path. It follows VIT and a few other things. So we've tested AWS Nova Pro and Claude, and they're pretty good actually. Okay. And
yeah,
so
because
we can.
We also have like a similar use case now. We're starting a project with Ayala Foundation also, and with Ayala Foundation, and they have quite similar things where I think it's attendance, if I'm not mistaken. And the grade, no, they want the grade of the students also. And so they get grades sheets from the students, and they want this to import into the system.
Right.
So that would be quite interesting.
Oh, if you don't want to use Nova, I understand from a DPG standpoint that you have to stick to open. I tried it also with the Llama 3.2 version, and it's pretty good, actually.
Okay, we should try then.
Yes.
A huge thank you to our speaker, Joven Ilagan.